The Journey of Quiet Roads. Once upon a time, there was a woman named Clara who felt like life had become too loud. The constant ringing of her phone, the endless emails, and the hum of the city filled her days. Though she was successful in her career, something was missing. Each night, as she stared at her ceiling, Clara felt the weight of unanswered questions. Was this all there was to life? One evening, after another long day, she sat by her window with a cup of tea. The city lights twinkled like stars, but instead of feeling inspired, Clara felt tired. She closed her eyes and imagined herself walking through quiet forests, feeling the sun on her skin and breathing air free of pressure. That night, she made a decision. She would take a journey, not to escape life, but to reconnect with it. Clara's first destination was a small village tucked away in a green valley. The journey there was slow, the kind that made her notice things she'd forgotten. The gentle sway of trees, the distant sound of a river, and the way sunlight danced on fields. When she arrived, the village seemed untouched by time. Small cottages with colorful flowers in the windows lined the narrow streets. The air smelled of fresh bread, and the villagers greeted her with simple, warm smiles. Clara spent her days walking through the village, learning the rhythm of its life. Children played with handmade toys, farmers worked the fields, and elders sat outside enjoying the sun. One evening, an older woman named Maria invited Clara into her home. Maria's home was simple but cozy, with a crackling fire and the scent of freshly baked bread filling the room. They sat together, sipping tea, speaking slowly, and sometimes without words. Maria shared stories of her life, her joys, her losses, and her love for the village. As Clara listened, she felt a deep sense of calm. Here, happiness wasn't tied to possessions or achievements. It lived in the quiet moments, like the sound of laughter or the warmth of a shared meal. Clara's next stop was a remote beach she'd seen in a travel magazine. Getting there meant taking a small boat, which rocked gently on the waves as the sea stretched endlessly around her. When she arrived, the beach was almost empty. The sand was soft, like powder, and the water shimmered under the sun. She spent her first day simply walking along the shore, letting the cool waves touch her feet. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Clara sat on the sand, watching the sky turn shades of pink, orange, and purple. The world seemed to pause, and she felt a kind of peace she hadn't known in years. Later that night, she lay on the beach under a blanket of stars. The sound of the waves was like a lullaby, and for the first time in a long time, she let her worries drift away. The vastness of the ocean reminded her that life, like the sea, was full of endless possibilities. After the tranquility of the beach, Clara decided to visit a bustling market in a faraway city. The market was alive with energy, bright stalls overflowing with fruits, spices, and handmade goods. The air buzzed with the sound of conversations in different languages and the rhythmic beat of street performers. Clara wandered through the narrow lanes, drawn to the vibrant colors and rich smells. A young shopkeeper caught her attention with a table full of beautiful fabrics. He greeted her with a big smile and asked, "Where are you from?" They struck up a conversation. He spoke of his dreams to one day travel the world and see the places he had only read about. Clara shared her own journey and how she had left everything behind to find peace. As they talked, she realized how universal the desire for connection and purpose was. The market wasn't just a place for trading goods. It was a place where lives intersected, if only for a moment. Clara's last stop was a small wooden cabin high in the mountains. The journey to the cabin was steep, but when she arrived, she felt like she was standing on top of the world. Clouds floated below her, and the peaks stretched far into the distance. The cabin was simple, a single room with a bed, a fireplace, and a small kitchen. Clara spent her morning sitting by the window, sipping tea, and writing in her notebook. She poured her thoughts onto the pages, reflections on her journey, memories she had made, and lessons she had learned. Each afternoon she took long walks through the forest, listening to the rustle of leaves and the songs of birds. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of pine trees, and the silence felt like a warm embrace. One evening, as she sat by the fire, Clara thought about the life she had left behind. She realized she no longer felt the need to rush back or prove herself. Instead, she wanted to carry this sense of calm and clarity with her, no matter where she went. When Clara returned home, everything felt different. The city was still loud and her work was still demanding, but she had changed. The places she had visited taught her that peace wasn't something you had to find. It was something you carried within you. Whenever life felt overwhelming, she would close her eyes and remember the quiet village, the sound of the waves, the vibrant market, and the stillness of the mountains. And so Clara continued her journey, not in distant lands, but in the way she chose to live each day, embracing the beauty of every moment. The end.